Hello, kidney warriors. James here from Dadvice TV, your online kidney health coach, and this is the latest episode of Dadvice TV Live. It is March 2025, and it's the first Tuesday of the month, so that means we've got an Ask Me Anything with renal dietitian Jen Hernandez from plantpoweredkidneys.com. So for the next 30 minutes, enter your questions into the comments. What questions you have about the diet? Are there foods you're confused about? Is there something you're not sure? And you're like, if I just had a renal dietitian, which is the best thing to have on your side to help you put the brakes on kidney disease and slow its progression, this is your chance. There is absolutely no cost. So go ahead, type in your questions, and I'm going to go ahead and bring on my co-host. Please welcome renal dietitian Jen Hernandez. Hey, Jen, how you doing?
Hi, James. I'm doing great this evening. Very, very excited to be here. It is National Nutrition Month and National Kidney Month. So, March is kind of a big deal for me. I'm not going to lie. So, I'm really, really excited to jump on tonight and answer some questions with you all. Just so you know, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jen. I am the renal dietitian founder behind Plant Powered Kidneys, which has been around since 2018. And I can't believe time is flying so fast with that. Even before I had Plant Powered Kidneys, though, I worked with kidney patients in dialysis. And even with that, I also worked at the National Kidney Foundation, helping people with early stage kidney disease do what they can to protect their kidney health. So I've had many, many years, over 10 years as a renal dietitian, working with kidney patients in all different stages and situations. And it's my absolute favorite thing to help kidney patients do what they can to protect their kidney function at whatever stage or situation they're at. I was actually just earlier today posting on social media about the importance of nutrition in any stage, and especially in the earlier stages. It is a very big passion of mine. That's why Plant Powered Kidneys came to be, was because I wanted to provide that information. So you can learn more about what we do, get a ton of free education information. We've got meal plans, we've got cookbooks, we've got all kinds of blog articles, tons and tons of stuff for you at plantpoweredkidneys.com, which is the QR code right here that you can go check that out. But don't let that make you leave the live Q&A today, because I'm here to answer your and I want to support you. But keep this in mind for later, because I am here to help. And then also, if you didn't know, my Kidney Wellness Academy, which is my program, this is something that I do. I have live Q&As in my program every month, and those Q&As are a little bit different than the ones here. These ones are just on the fly. Questions are popping up in the live Q&As in my program. Questions are submitted ahead of time. So I do a lot of research as a renal dietitian, and we spend a full hour every month in Kidney Wellness Academy answering those questions. And I provide the resources and links and ideas in there. So again, if you're interested in learning more, head to plantpoweredkidneys.com and you can learn more about that as well.
Awesome. And I just want to put one last re-emphasis on Jen's website. What a lot of information there is. She's got easy to search blog. You type in a word. If she wrote about it, you're going to find it. And her Facebook group, excellent. My favorite part of it, besides all the great people, are the recipe ideas that come from everyone. And a lot of people will tweak the recipe. Maybe there's something they didn't like, or something their dietitian said, hey, you need to watch this, eat less of this. And there's so many great ideas and photos of the food. So it is fantastic for getting lots and lots of ideas. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with our first question, which came from Tammy. Tammy is asking, can you recommend foods to help or that are good to eat for someone who is stage 5?
This is a really good question. And I like this because stage 5 is a very fragile situation. And also, to be clear, I'm guessing, or Tammy, if you want to comment, I'm guessing you mean stage 5 not on dialysis, because stage 5, you can be stage 5 on dialysis as well. And these are going to be very different responses depending on this answer. I'm going to assume not dialysis, because usually people will comment and say, I'm on dialysis. So in this case, when you're stage 5 CKD, not on dialysis, this is a fragile state for kidney function. This means your kidney function is at or below 15% or a GFR of 15. So you have a little bit of kidney function left, and it's very important to be careful with that residual kidney function. Now, even though there is some finessing with your kidney function, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't be eating or you should be cutting back. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, is they're so afraid of eating anything that damages their kidneys that they don't eat enough. And then you end up losing weight when, even if you wanted, or if you were told that you should lose weight, if you're not actively trying through healthy changes, if you're not trying to lose weight, that's not healthy weight loss. That is a bad sign. That is not good for your body, because your body needs that energy to keep everything going, including helping your kidneys function. So that being said, some of the things that I recommend for stage 5 is to, 1, focus on getting plenty of fruits and vegetables. Now, if you have been directly told, and I very much mean directly told by your healthcare team, that you need to be careful with potassium because there's something going on with your kidneys that's preventing the potassium from being balanced, then focus on lower potassium fruits and veggies. And there are so many out there. It's really, really easy to still get plenty of fruits and vegetables into a low potassium diet. But aiming for just a half a cup to a cup of fruits or vegetables with each meal, that's going to keep the potassium in check, but you're going to get a lot of nutrients from those fruits and vegetables besides the lower potassium. Now, if you don't have a potassium restriction, that's really great. I want you to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables because that is going to provide a lot of nutrients for you. Now, I'm not going to go through like a whole bunch of all the different kinds of high and low potassium foods right now, but I will tell you there is an article on Plant-Powered Kidneys about the low potassium diet, and I have the lists. I have the high potassium, I have the low potassium. We talk about what decides it, if it's high or low, like what's that factor, and you get tons of information, including some sample meal plan ideas there. So you can check out that low potassium diet article if that's something that you want to dive more into. And the reason I'm moving on is because it's not just fruits and vegetables. Stage 5, it's also very important to get quality carbohydrates from the sources of grains, like whole grains. So brown rice, quinoa, teff, bulgur. There's so many grains out there. And I think the US, we just don't utilize as many as we see. We always think like rice or pasta or something, but there is really truly so many whole grain options that are going to be kidney friendly. And I like to emphasize whole grains because the whole grains are also providing fiber, which most of us, kidney disease aside, most of us are really lacking in fiber in our diet. So getting more fiber is going to be really, really helpful for your gut. It's also going to be helpful for balancing your potassium. So getting enough fiber helps move everything through your gut, including helping the body to get rid of some of that potassium. So whole grains are also very, very important. Another group or another area to focus on when you're at stage 5, not on dialysis, is healthy fats. And I'm saying nuts and seeds and oils. And I know oils right now are such a hot topic, especially seed oils, but seed oils in of themselves are not the problem. When you hear about a lot of this stuff talking about seed oils, what the problem where it's coming from is the processed foods that seed oils are being used in. But it's not the seed oil itself. It's not that one ingredient. It's this overall overconsumption of highly processed foods. That's more of the concern. Seed oils are totally fine when you're using something like canola oil to cook with in moderation. I'm not saying we're going to go on a full seed oil diet, but if you're using small amounts of moderation for cooking, you are giving yourself healthy fats. And that's really, really important to make sure that you're getting enough calories. Back to the eating enough. That's what's really important too. So healthy fats, nuts, seeds, avocados, you can do the oils in your diet. That's very much fine. And it really is going to help you get enough calories. And then protein. Now, protein is going to be a little bit more finicky for stage 5 because, again, you have a much smaller amount of protein function left. And we need to be careful because protein is the hardest thing for the kidneys to manage. But you still need protein. Your body still needs protein. That's not the question. The question is, what can your kidneys handle when it comes to protein? So with stage 5, a low protein diet may be recommended, but it's really, really important that you talk with your doctor, talk with a dietitian, and make sure they're closely monitoring you with this, because what I see again, time and time again, is people cutting out protein way too much. And again, they're not eating enough and they're really, really hungry. They're losing weight when they don't want to. So you don't just want to cut all the protein out. Your body still does need protein, but you want to get a little bit in, aiming for like maybe a little bit less than a palm size at your meals. And then again, when you're pulling back on protein a little bit, make sure you're adding more to your plate, adding more of the fruits and vegetables, adding more of the healthy carbohydrates, adding more of the healthy fats. Add more of these other nutrients to balance that reduction in protein. It's not just cutting down protein. That's not what we want to do. And every now and then, if you're eating animal proteins, I recommend switching to a plant protein like tofu or tempeh, maybe some edamame, or even some beans or lentils. These are really, really good plant proteins that have other nutrients that are also helpful for the kidneys. So I do recommend switching to some plant proteins. If you're not fully vegan or fully plant-based, you don't have to be, that's fine. But try your best to keep animal proteins a little bit less common on your plate and try switching to some more plant proteins, and that should help as well.
Awesome. So much information. I absolutely love edamame. It is like, it used to be my go-to snack until I discovered I have an allergy to soy, but I still enjoy it just in moderation. Now,
Mhm.
kind of building on that conversation of stage 5, and Sunflower Sunshine Deb, which I love that name, asks, she's on dialysis, can you have tomato sauce or pasta while you're on dialysis?
Or maybe tomato paste. Maybe that's what she
Or,
meant. Tomato sauce or
okay,
tomato
tomato
paste.
sauce or paste if on
Yeah.
dialysis.
Um, yeah, it's a really good question. So the reason I'm guessing it's being brought up, Deb, and I'm just going to kind of jump to some conclusions from my experience with dialysis patients, is you were probably told to be careful with potassium, or you heard somewhere you heard to be careful with potassium. And so tomato products, they come up in this conversation because tomato can be a higher source of potassium, especially something like these sauces or these pastes that are condensed tomatoes. But it absolutely can fit. And I can't provide more guidance beyond saying what's important is to look at your labs and to talk with your dialysis dietitian about the right amount for you. So, your dialysis dietitian is a really, really good source of information specifically for you, Deb, because your dialysis dietitian knows your medical history. They have access to your medications, they communicate with your doctor, they communicate with your dialysis team, and then they have your labs right there to look and then to talk to you and to learn more from you about what you eat and what you like to eat and what you want to eat. So in this question, if we rephrase it to something like, how can I have tomato sauce or tomato paste on dialysis? The question is, you talk with your team and you see, what your labs are telling you and what you need to be paying attention to. Because another thing could be sodium. Maybe it's the sodium and the high salt amount for sauces, which is really common. And maybe that is more so what they're concerned about if they're kind of talking about being careful with this. So there's a couple factors there to consider, but talking with your healthcare team is you already have a team right there. You already have everybody built in. You have a dietitian who is going to give you the most straightforward answer to say exactly how much you could have.
Perfect. All right, here's a great question I think is perfect for you. M- Marianne says, hi, my mom had kidney disease 3B, no diabetes, very good, and no high blood pressure. Fantastic. So, what is the best diet you recommend?
Well, Marianne, it is hard for me to say, it's hard for me to say without doing like a full nutrition assessment, unfortunately, because what I like to do with my clients is figure out like the root cause, like what did cause the kidney problems, and then what are the labs and what are the medications. But overall, the general guidelines do recommend the best type of diet for kidney patients is a Mediterranean diet. And a Mediterranean diet is a diet that focuses on surprise, fruits and vegetables and whole grains and all the things I've been talking about. It focuses on those nutrients. It includes healthy fats. It even includes animal proteins specifically. They like to target a couple servings of like healthy fatty fish like salmon, recommending a few servings of salmon per week to provide more of those healthy fats. And then they include avocados and nuts and seeds and those other healthy oils. In addition, they say added sugars sparingly. They even include a little bit of wine. So, it's a very, very nice, well-rounded diet in my opinion. But that is the one that has been the most studied, has been the most backed, and is the most recommended. So I would recommend starting off there. Another one is the DASH diet. That one has been studied very, very well, specifically for high blood pressure, which I know you mentioned. You said that your mom doesn't have high blood pressure, but I do want to just give you a warning that CKD can be kind of tricky in that high blood pressure can cause kidney disease, but kidney disease can cause high blood pressure. When there's less kidney function, the kidneys are responsible in taking care of our blood pressure. So the declined function can mean more blood pressure issues. And that's why in some cases, some people who have chronic kidney disease, even if they don't have a history of blood pressure issues, they might be prescribed some blood pressure medications in a more preventive measure, just to help make sure things are looking good. So the DASH diet is another one that has been highly reviewed, very, very well studied, and one of the more recommended diets. And for that one, I do actually have a blog article on plantpoweredkidneys.com. You can just go to the website, go to the blog and search DASH diet. And I've got a full article there that lists out all the factors about DASH diet, what it includes, the foods to include, an example of what a day looks like, all of that kind of stuff in the blog.
Now, here's a question from Wisconsin Grandma that I can't wait to hear what you're recommending. She says she's just wondering, are there any sweet treats? She has a sweet tooth and it gets so strong sometimes. Like, I understand that. And she's looking for things that are safe and sweet that a person with kidney disease can eat. And I don't have her stage. I was looking back to see. Yeah, I don't have that yet.
I think she put later. She said later on 3B. So yes, Wisconsin grandma. My goodness, could we imagine a world without sweets? And if you're already trying to live that life, then I'm so sorry, but let me take you back from the dark side because, unless it's dark chocolate, because that's totally great. But yes, like please, this again, it even goes kind of beyond CKD because this is just the historical diet mentality. And what I mean by that is when we are told or we think, I can't have fill in the blank, it turns into the only thing we think about. We obsess over it because we have this repetitive chant in our head that, oh, I can't eat this. And I can't eat this, I can't eat this, I can't eat this. And then it turns into all I want to eat is this. So the more we can find ways to integrate more things into our diet, the less of that noise is going to clutter our brain and it's going to drop that obsession of thinking about it so much. And just from a safety, nutritional perspective, having some chocolate, having some of your favorite types of candies every now and then, it's not going to be a problem. I'll tell you this quick story from a client of mine who I've been working with for years. She's stage 4, almost at the cusp of stage 3, and she has come up from stage 5. So she's done a really, really good job and she's been stable. Yeah, she's done such a fantastic job, but there's still some fears that she has. And she told me about a recent trip that she went to go visit family, and they were having a family celebration that had cake. And she was like, I turned away the cake. I didn't eat any cake. I think she said some almonds and she had something else, which is not a cake substitute. It was not a cake substitute. And having something like that, enjoying a piece of cake, especially in a special event where there's a lot of family connections, and there is that like emotional aspect. It's that cultural aspect with the food. Having that little bit of cake then is not, was I told her, it's not going to derail all of the years of work that she's done in keeping her kidneys stable. It's not going to do anything. It's a drop in the bucket. So if we are including treats every now and then, when you are on a day to day focusing on getting more fiber and doing some activity to stay well and focusing on healthy sleep and taking your medications as your doctor's prescribed, when you're doing all these other things on a routine basis, having a little bit of sweets is not going to be the end of things. I promise you. I truly, truly promise you, it's not going to be just a switch for your kidneys. It's going to be fine. And if anything, you'll enjoy it more, and it'll be more special for you to enjoy that in that special environment. Now, I'm not saying like every single day after every single meal, have something sweet, but having something every now and then is fine. And in fact, it can even be better for you, because I've had clients who are even focusing on increasing their iron, and dark chocolate is a good source of iron. So I've actually had a client who paired her dark chocolate with some little cutie oranges. And so she was having the oranges with chocolate. Or I had someone who was doing some dark chocolate with almonds, dark chocolate with strawberries. So if you can add maybe something else, like something fresh with it, that can be more satisfying as well. And you can tell yourself, hey, I'm doing some good. Like, I have a patient who's on a chocolate prescription because she needs more chocolate. She needs more iron in her diet. So there are good benefits to these sweets as well.
Now, I'll tell you, from my own personal experience at work, we have what are known as the snack closets, which are gigantic closets. You just swing open the double doors, and it's like a convenience store. All you want, no cost. You want a Snicker, you want M&Ms. They got it all in there, and it is tempting because I have a sweet tooth. But when I'm at work, I take with me, I have in the freezer there my little labeled plastic bin, frozen black cherries. And I have a little portable blender thing, and I'll throw a bunch of those, like 4 or 5 of them, in some really cold water, blend it up, and this takes care of my sweet tooth, and it helps me avoid grabbing, a Three Musketeer or some Reese peanut butter cups or things that I just used to love but haven't tasted in a long time. So finding those, other areas of sweetness, that helps me. I just have trouble with like the bagels. I was telling Jen before the call started, there's so much food at work, and I'll grab a bagel, and you realize later, it's not even lunch, and I've had 3 bagels by sitting in all these meetings or hanging out, in areas that have them, just grabbing one. Now, speaking of treating yourself occasionally, what are some tips for those that like some wine?
So I will preface this by saying, even though the Mediterranean diet did say a little bit of wine is fine, we do want to acknowledge that the one that's most commonly known is the resveratrol, the antioxidants from red wine. That's one of the ones that's kind of touted more specifically to the Mediterranean diet. But I will say that you can get those antioxidants from grape juice and other benefits. So if you're not drinking wine now, it doesn't mean you have to add it in. I want to just air caution to that. You don't have to add it to your diet if you're not drinking alcohol. You can get it from other grapes and the grape juice too. But if you do a little bit of wine, like 3 or 4 ounces, like a half pour compared to like a 6-ounce normal pour, you can include some of that, as long as your doctor and or pharmacist has given you the green light that it's not going to interfere with your medications. Then red wine might be the more preferable kind. Again, because of those antioxidants, but I wouldn't be jumping into that if it's not something that you're having already. And I definitely would stick to no more than 1 drink per day for women, no more than 2 drinks per day for men. And again, you really want to make sure you're cleared by your medical team before alcohol is in the mix, because a lot of the medications that kidney patients are commonly prescribed can be impacted by alcohol. So for not such a good Well, not in a good way, I'll say.
All right, now here's a complex question. And this is from Crystal. And Crystal, what you're describing, having multiple challenges that you're facing and finding the right diet, so many people see this or face that same problem. And that's where working with someone like Jen, a dietitian who can look at what you like, what you don't like, you know, the other parts of your lifestyle and customize, personalize a diet just for you. So Crystal's saying she's stage 3 and she struggles with what she should eat due to having diabetes, high blood pressure, lupus, a colostomy bag, and 3 other autoimmune diseases. How do you figure out the right diet for you when you have all these things to juggle that have to line up right?
Yeah, well, I mean, James, you hit the nail on the head. Like, this is one of those examples where it's not a one size fits all diet, and usually it's very rare when we find somebody who only has kidney disease and doesn't have any other health conditions to be thinking about. So, I have worked with CKD patients who've had diabetes, high blood pressure, lupus, congestive heart failure, colostomy bags. All of them. I've worked with them, and the overarching commonalities with these different types of diets, you're not going to be shocked, I'm pretty sure. More fruits and vegetables, more whole grains, more plants in the diet. It's always coming down to that. There's really rarely a situation, and in some cases there might be digestive situations. So like the colostomy bag, you might need to take that into consideration depending on like certain tolerances for certain types of fruits or vegetables, whether it's easier for them to be cooked or canned or frozen versus raw. There's going to be individual things. So that's where working with the dietitian would give you the most direct guidance. But to give you something right now, I mean, silver lining with kidney disease is when you learn about stage 3. I'm sure other people that are here tonight, they could probably say like, I wish I learned about my kidney disease when it was stage 3,
Oh,
because not everybody, yeah,
yes.
not everybody gets that. So learning about kidney disease at an early stage is a silver lining. It is an opportunity to take advantage of the time that you have, because again, most people don't know until it's kidney failure and dialysis time. Um, so following a more plant-based diet, including those healthy fats, really focusing on antioxidants and anti-inflammatory healthy fats as well, like omega-3s, can be really, really helpful. Um, you also said like what I should not eat. The only thing I would say is the typical standard. Again, it's not going to be surprising, but be really, really careful with ultra processed foods. Be careful when you're going out to eat that, really, really high in sodium, high in saturated fats, because some of these things might be more inflammatory for these different kinds of health conditions. But it's really rare that I would tell somebody not to eat fruits and vegetables, even when they have multiple conditions to be concerned about, including kidney disease. So hopefully that helps, Crystal. But my number one recommendation would be talk with your doctor, ask for a referral to a registered dietitian. And there are dietitians, like I specialize in kidney disease, but depending on what you want to focus on, there are dietitians that specialize in autoimmune, like there's lupus dietitians. There are dietitians that focus on cardiovascular, high blood pressure, and chronic heart failure. There we go. So there's GI dietitians that can focus on your digestive system and help you with the colostomy. So if you want to focus and find like maybe a dietitian that's specialized in one of those areas where you're like, this is kind of what I'm really worried about right now, or this is what my team is telling me to focus on the most, like finding a dietitian that specializes in that area could be a really good fit for you too.
Yeah. And Crystal, I encourage you to work with a dietitian. When Jen and I met, because one of my first videos about my first experience with the dietitian was when I was in the ICU. She had like 2 minutes, if that, to look at my labs and stuff and come in and give me recommendations. But she just handed me sheets, and I had one for, oh, I had a heart attack. Here's my heart attack diet. Oh, I have kidney failure. Here's my kidney failure diet. and they conflicted each other. And I'm looking at these trying to figure it out. It's a puzzle. And I just had two things to deal with. But once I found a dietitian and got to go in and sit down and talk to them and say, hey, what do you like to eat? I told them, what do you not like to eat? Fish. I didn't like mushrooms. I've learned to like mushrooms now. And I let them know, here's what I don't like. And yeah, what do you do? What's your day like? They helped me figure it all out, and it became so easy. And when I went to the hospital, I was GFR8. I just got my labs last week. They're up a bit more. I'm now at 35, over almost 6.5 years later. Now, that's not meaning that everyone's kidney function is going to increase by eating better and doing other things, but it definitely can't hurt getting your blood pressure under control. But working with a dietitian was by far what made me feel the best about understanding and taking control of my kidney disease. Now, Jen, we are out of time, but I want to get one more question in here for you. Have you
Sure.
seen any that you wanted to answer? If not, I have one I'd like to bring up.
Go for it.
Okay, there's several people who mentioned peanut butter. And I love peanut butter as a snack. Kathy here loves it with celery. Hey, Kathy, we're in the same boat. Love it with celery. What's your advice or your words of wisdom around people with kidney disease and peanut butter?
Oh yeah, it's a definite go, and it is nutrient dense. So a couple of tablespoons will be really really good to get you the energy that you're looking for. It provides some protein. It provides even some fiber. And the fact that I missed the name of the person who had brought up the celery, but the
Kathy.
fact Kathy. So Kathy, the fact that you're like, I'm using it to eat more vegetables, like love that. That is so great. And you're adding healthy fats. If you just ate celery alone, it's not going to be very filling. It's not going to last you very long. You're going to be hungry 15 minutes later. So adding the peanut butter is going to satiate you more because it's giving you more nutrients. It's giving you what you need. And those healthy fats are going to help you even better absorb some of the nutrients that are coming from the celery anyway. So it really is, that's a winning combination. And I think peanut butter is absolutely fantastic. I have no bad things to say about peanut butter. I will say, just cautionary when you're looking for peanut butter in the grocery store, try to find ones that are just solely peanuts, or almond butter. There's macadamia, there's pecan butter now. Like whatever nut butter you're looking for, yeah, whatever nut butter you're looking for, see if you can find the ones that are just purely the nut blended, and it'll probably have that oil up top because that's natural separation. But you stir it together, you keep it in the fridge, and it stays stirred up together when it's in the fridge. If you can find it without salt, or maybe if it has a little bit of salt, because salt's going to add flavor for it as well. So just try to find some that are lower in sodium. And my trick there is always look for something that's lower in milligrams of sodium for the calories per serving. So if it's like 200 calories per serving and it's 180 milligrams sodium, then that's a good balance. So that would be more realistic. But if it has a little bit of salt, that's okay. Otherwise, if you can find something with just the nuts, that's ideal. We don't need to get the nut butters that have the extra added oils in them. But everybody has different food access. And so if, peanut butter is something that you can get to, and that's what you got, then go for it. I think it is going to be a really, really good option.
Excellent. All right. We are just over our half hour tonight. Thank you so much, Jen. This has been fantastic. And for all of you out there, I'll be back next week with two shows. The first one is on Monday with Dr. Rosansky. And I think the second one is on Wednesday with a new doctor who will be joining us to talk about heart disease and kidney disease and something else. There's a combination of three things that he's going to be talking about. So hopefully I'll see all of you here next week. And don't forget, the link to Plant Powered Kidneys, the Facebook group, and Jen's website is down below in the description. Go ahead, join your Facebook group. I'll say hi if I see you guys over there, because I'm over there quite often. I don't comment too much, but I do like thumbs up things, and I'll answer questions from time to time because it's just such an amazing Facebook group with so much positivity. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jen. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.